I think it's clear now that, or it should be, that Trump knew he was a lying son of a bitch. All this talk about a stolen election, he didn't believe it for a minute. And I think testimony has come out to the J6 committee, and it's included in their final report, that indicates that Trump had made those comments in front of or around a number of people. So we can dispense with, if we are halfway intelligent, the idea that Trump actually thought he won the election. That's bullshit. But something else has come out here. This was reported by Business Insider. And this is about Sidney Powell. Remember her? I mean, of all this cast of characters of these sewer rats who were operating around Trump, Sidney Powell, to me, just stands out. What a insane person. And apparently even the Orange Vomit thought Sidney Powell was crazy. That's what the J6 panel is reporting. Trump's former White House communications director, Hope Hicks, said that there was a phone call from Sidney Powell to Trump. And while the two of them were talking, and Hope Hicks was with the president there, he muted the phone so that Powell couldn't hear what he was saying. And with the phone muted, Trump went into this whole little dance and gestures mocking Powell, saying, quote, "This does sound crazy, doesn't it?" Now, that's according to the J6 panel's summary of their allegations into the Capitol riot, which it released earlier this week. In the actual report, the committee detailed how Trump, on November 20th, got a call from Sidney Powell. And Hope Hicks is the one who gave this testimony. The day before she called Trump, Powell had taken to the stage at a press conference alongside Rudy Giuliani, and they were mouthing these insane conspiracy theories. According to the committee's report, Sidney Powell repeated to Trump claims that she had trotted out during that press conference, and that included the bullshit assertion that there was massive influence by communist money through Venezuela, Cuba, and likely China in the interference with our elections here in the United States. End quote. And in addition, according to the report, Sidney Powell thought the voting technology company Dominion Voting Services, or Dominion Voting Systems, I believe it's called, was in league with Venezuelan dictator Hugo Chavez. Chavez has been dead since 2013. And that this had something to do with the election, stealing it from Trump. And 2 days later, on November 22nd, Trump's team got rid of this psycho. Trump lawyers Giuliani and Jenna Ellis on November 22nd wrote, quote, "Sidney Powell is practicing law on her own. She's not a member of the Trump legal team. She is also not a lawyer for the president in his personal capacity." Giuliani saying that. And as far as Sidney Powell's fate, the Daily Beast reported about a year ago that she is now on Trump's no-go list, which means if that bitch calls in, hang up on her. The Daily Beast spoke to sources who said Powell has been put on a list of people to keep away from Trump and that Trump won't take her calls. Now, in the meantime, Dominion Voting Systems is suing her and Giuliani and that insane little Nazi fuck Mike Lindell, the pillow guy, for defamation, alleging that these three sewer rats pushed a whole bunch of baseless voter fraud claims that hurt Dominion Systems business. The company said in January that it is unlikely to settle the billion-dollar lawsuit. They wanted to go to the court and bankrupt these bastards because of the what they call devastating harm that these three clowns caused the company. So it's that little bit about Sidney Powell that just freaked me out. that Trump muted the phone while Powell was on the phone and other people were in the room, and Trump was gesticulating and saying things. You know what he's capable of doing, that were absolutely making people in the room laugh their asses off the way he was insulting this crazy bitch, Sidney Powell. I would have liked to have seen that. I swear to God I would have. But the bottom line for all this is that Trump knew that he lost the election. He knew that from the get-go. He also knew when he first announced that he was going to run for the presidency in 2015 that he wasn't going to get elected. He knew that. And that's when he started this bullshit about if I don't get elected, it's because it was stolen. And then Hillary Clinton winds up getting 3 million more votes than Trump. But because of our racist so-called electoral college system, Trump got the office. Hi, Truth Seekers. Mike Malloy here. You know, the Progressive Voices Network brings you commercial-free commentary from today's leading progressive radio hosts and pundits, like me, Mike Malloy, 24 hours a day. I'm not your typical old guy from the 80s or the 90s talk radio host, and Progressive Voices is not your typical talk radio network. It's a listener-supported nonprofit with no corporate control whatsoever over our broadcast. So hosts like me, Mike Malloy, are free to rant and scream and carry on about whatever we like. We're often controversial, but we're never boring. Weeknights, 9 p.m. in the East, 6 p.m. in the West on the Progressive Voices Network. Always progressive, always on. I'm Mike Malloy. Keep it lit.